Hello guys, welcome to this video. This one is paper 1-1 of October-November 2017. So I'm actually redoing this whole paper as a whole video together with all the parts in one single video because I did this before. It was long ago and I did not check the questions, so it was not perfect. Okay, so this time I'm going to redo this again, explain every question as simple as possible so we understand what's happening. Okay, so let's move on to question number 1. So first one, we have to evaluate 1, 3 over 8 minus 2 over 3. So first thing, we have to first expand this part, right? How do you expand? You have to take 1 times 8 plus 3. That will be 11 over 8 minus 2 over 3. Now, we have two fractions. The base are different, so we have to make it become the same base by multiplying them. You will have 24. 3, and then cross multiply. You will have 3 times 11 is 33. Minus 16. Now what is 33 minus 16? That will be 2, 10. That will be 4 plus 3. That should be 7. And that will be 1. So your answer is 17 over 24 for part A. Now for part B, we have to multiply these two decimals. So the first thing you do is you ignore the decimals. You multiply the numbers directly. So 13 times 4. That should be 12, and that should be 5. So you get 52. Now here we have one decimal place, and here we have one decimal place. So in total we have two decimal places. So we count 1, 2. That should be right here. Your answer is 0.52 for question part B. This one is 17 over 24. Now let's move on to question number 2. So here we have 9 power 2 minus 9 power 0. So 9 power 2, you guys must know by now, it is 81. And anything power 0 is 1, so that will be 80. Now for part B, let's simplify this. So whenever you have the power is negative, you can always rewrite this down as 1 over 9 power become positive. Now what is 9? 9 is 3 power 2. So you can rewrite this down as 1 over 3 power 2 power half. That will be 1 over 3 power 1, which is 1 over 3. And that will be your question number 2. Now let's move on to question number 3. So find the simple interest on $200 for 3 years at 4% per year. So as you guys know, interest is equal to PRT. P is the investment, that is $200, times the rate, which is 4%, and times the number of years. So simplify. So 4 times 3 is 12, times 2 is 24. So that will be $24 for your interest. Now for part B, two brothers share $200 in the ratio of 2 to 3. Calculate the largest share. So as you can see, the largest share is 3. But the total share is 5, so we say 5 represents $200, but we need to find 3. 3 will be 200 divided by 5 times 3. That should be 120. Okay, your answer is 120 for part B of question number 3. Now for question number 4, by writing each number correct to 1SF, calculate an estimate for this fraction. So first number, we have 987.65. If you want to write this down correct to 1SF, you have to check. So we first have to leave this number by itself because it is one number, 1SF. Then this number, you ask yourself, is this number more than or equal to 5? If it is, then you have to add 1 to the first one. So 8 is more than 5, so you have to add 1 to 9, you get 10. And the rest becomes 0. Now this one, same thing, 0.0193. So first thing, you have to leave the first. So we don't count 0. Okay, we count the first number you see. This one, we'll leave it alone by itself, and then we ask ourselves if this number here, is it more or equal to 5? If it is, you add 1 to this number. So you will get 0.02, and the rest becomes 0. So now replace back in your fraction. You will have 1,000, 1, 2, 3, divided by 0.02. Now what can we do here is, since we have decimal place, you can move 1, 2, then you have to add 2 zeros on top. You will have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, divided by 2. You will have 1, your answer will be 50,000 for question number 4. That will be an estimation correct to 1SF. Right. Now let's move on to question number 5. The diagram shows part of a figure that has AB as your line of symmetry. Complete the figure. So as you can see, you just have to turn it this way and verify, right? Verify where we have the points. So we can just have to be reflected in this line. So this should be here, this should be here, and this should be here. So by joining those points, you will have this reflection that you need. Okay, that will be part A. Now for part B, let me just verify the region that was shaded, just to confirm which parts has been shaded. So we have this too. So this is given to you. And then we have this two given to you as well. And then we have this one given to you. And finally, we have this one given to you. Okay, so we have 6 small squares has been shaded. Okay. Now the question is, we have to shade 2 more squares so that the completed diagram has a rotational symmetry of order 4. So pretty simple. Your center is here. So basically, if you rotate by order 4 is 360 divided by 4, that is 90. If you rotate by 90 degrees every single time, you need to see the same thing. So right now, I see these two and this two. If I rotate by 90, you will be right here. So I need to see these two and this two, so we have to add this one. Now same thing, if I rotate by 90, I need to see these two and these two, so I need to add this one. Okay, so just like that, you will have an order of rotation 4 by adding these two to your diagram. Now let's move on to part 6. As part of a training, Samantha runs for 2 hours, that's the time. For the first 1 hour and a half, she runs at an average speed of 10. Okay. Now she runs 7 km in the remaining half an hour. So calculate her average speed for the 2 hours. So first you have to know what is the formula for average speed. So average speed is equal to total speed divided by total time. No, okay, that was so stupid. So it's not speed, total distance. Yeah, total distance divided by time, divided by total time. So let me find this one first. So for the first part is, as you guys know, distance is equal to speed times time. Okay, so for the first 1.5 hours, she runs at an average speed of 10. So to find the distance, it will be speed times time, 1.5. That will be 15 km. Now for the she runs 7 km in the half hour. So that is 7 km for the distance. So what is the total distance? 15 plus 7. That will be 22. Divided by the time. Time will be 2 hours. So average speed will be 11 km per hour. And that is your answer for part 6. Now let's move on to question number 7. So we have f of x given to you by this function. We have to find this one. So basically replace the value of x by 3.2. So that will be 3.2. You will have 3 times 3.2 plus 7. Now what is 3.2 times 3? That will be 6, 9, and we have 1 decimal place. That will be this. So you have 9.6 plus 7. That will be 16.6. Now for part B, find f inverse of x. So to find inverse, we have to follow step by step. So first thing is to let y equal to f of x, which is 3x plus 7. So then we have to make x become the subject of formula. So we have 3x equal to y minus 7. So x is y minus 7 divided by 3. So finally, f of x, f inverse of x, it is in terms of x, so we have to change y to x. That'll be x minus 7 divided by 3. Now for question number 8, y varies directly as the square of x. So you have to be able to form your equation from this information. So what does that mean? So y varies directly as the square of x, which means y is equal to kx. Sorry, square, right? Now we have been given two values here to find the value of k. So when the value of y is 1 over 5, the value of x was half. So let's solve this to find the value of k. So this will give you 1 over 5 is equal to k times 1 over 4. And that will be k is 4 over 5. Now let's move on to the main question. Find the value of y when x equal to 10. So right now our equation is equal to y 4 over 5 x square. Find the value of y when x is equal to 10. 10 square. So that will give you 4 over 5 times 100. Simplify. That will be 80. So y will be 80. And let's move on to question number 9. So here we have to solve the inequality. So make x become your subject of formula, right? So we can send everything to one side. You will have 12 here less than 3x. So divide by 3, you will have 4x, which means x is more than 4. That is for part A. For part B, find the integer values of n that satisfy this equation. So to make n subject of formula, we have to divide by 2 everywhere. You will have minus 4 n minus 2. Now if you look at your number line, you will have minus 4, minus 3, and minus 2. Now this one is not inclusive. This one it is inclusive, so we can take the values of minus 3 and minus 2. But not minus 4 because it is not inclusive. Now for question number 10, 1 week the temperatures in degrees Celsius at midnight were recorded. The results are given to you below. So whenever you have a list of numbers, the first thing you need to do is to rearrange them in ascending order, okay? So from smallest to largest. So first is minus 3. Then we have minus 2, then minus 1. Then we have minus 1 already. We have 1, 2, and 5. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in ascending orders of the numbers. Now using these results to find the mode. The mode is the one that happens the most. As you can see, minus 2 happens the most. That will be your mode. Now for part B, find the median. So here we have 7 numbers. To find the median, we have to take half. 7 plus 1, that will be 8 over 2. That should be 4, the fourth element. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. That will be minus 1 as your median. Now the mean will be adding everything and divide by the number of numbers. So if you add everything, you will have minus 3 plus minus 2 plus minus 2 plus minus 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 5 and divide by 7, which is the number of numbers that we have. So these two will cancel out. This will cancel out. So you have minus 3 minus 2 plus 5. That should be 0 over 7. So your mean will be 0. And that will be your question number 10. Now let's move on to this part. Write the number in standard form. So we just have to count. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 1.2 times 10 to the power of minus 4. Now part B, giving your answer in standard form, let's evaluate this value. So first we have, so here we have power 7, power 6. So we cannot minus directly. We have to change them to make it become the same power. So how can I do this? I can send 10 over here. You will get 55 times 10 power 6 minus 2.1 times 10 power 6. So now since the power are the same, I can now minus. So we factorize the 10 outside. You have 5 minus 2.1 times 10 power 6. Now what is 5 minus 2.1? That will be 4. That will be 9. That should give you 2 and 5. So 52.9. So you have 52.9 times 10 power 6. But your answer needs to be in standard form, so you have to send this one here. You will have 5.29 times 10 power 7. That is your answer for part B. Okay, so part 12, we have to solve the simultaneous equation. So you can do by two methods. One is elimination and one is substitution. So I will choose my favorite one, which is substitution. So first one, I will make x become your subject of formula. X will be 2y minus 12. Right. Now we have to replace this x in this equation. You will have 3y equal to 11 minus 2x. X, you know, is equal to this one, 2y minus 12. Now we have to simplify. So 3y is equal to 11 minus 4y plus 24. Now let's send all the y to one side. You will have 7y over here, and this will become 35. So y will be 5. So we have to find the value of x. X will be 2 times y. So we know y is 5 minus 12. That will be 10 minus 12, and that should give you minus 2. So your answer will be minus 2 and 5. That will be question number 12. Now let's move on to question number 13. In a survey, some people will ask which of three types of t, labeled x, y, z, they preferred. The diagram shows part of the pie chart that illustrate the results. Now, as you can see, the angle of the sector that represents the people who preferred y has been given to you as 1. Okay, so we don't have this on the diagram, but we know that y is 168. So that is y, right? X has been given to you to be 120. So question part 1, we have to complete the diagram. So we have to use your compass for that. So remember, y has to be 168. So go to y, to the center of your circle, and let's measure this way so you can see what's happening. Okay, so go to my center of circle, go on this line, and then measure the angle 168 for the angle of y. This is 90, this is 160, 168 should be right here. Okay, so we have an indication where it should be. So by joining this center to this point, you will have your angle for y. So this will be 168, which means this is the remaining angle. We can find that out by using 360 minus 120 first. You will have 240, and then minus 168. That should give you this angle z. That will be 3. There will be 2, and this is 1, 10, 7, 72 will be angle z. So complete the pie chart done. So part B. So we have to find a fraction of people who preferred y. So y will be 168 over all the people will be 360. So now we can simplify, divide by, we can try to divide by which number? Let's divide by 6. You will have 6, 0. You will have 2 here, 4 here, and that will be 8. Now we have 28 over 60. We have two even numbers, divide by 2, you will have 14, and that will be 30. Right, 14 over 30. Now we can divide by 2 again, that will be 7 over 15, and that will be the simplest term we can find. So 7 over 15 for the fraction. Now for part C, given that 80 people preferred x, calculate the number of people in the survey. So let's go back to x. X is 120 degrees. So it means that 120 degrees represents 80 people. Now people in the survey will be the whole circle, which is 360 degrees. That will be 80 divided by 120 times 360. That should be 1, 3, and that will be 240. So the number of people will be 240 in the survey. And that will be question 13. So let's move on to question number 14. The table shows the square roots given to 4SF of some numbers from 31 to 32.9. Now, for example, the square root of 32.5, so 32.5 should be 5.701. Okay, so that's how you read the table. Now, part 1, use the table to find the difference between the square root of 32.5, which is given to you here, and the square root of 31.3. 31.3 is this one. So 5.595. So we have to find the difference. So minus each other. 595. So let's see, what do we get? This will be 6, 9, 10. That will be 6, 0, 1, and 0. 0.106 as your answer. Now for part B, we have to find an estimate of the square root of 32.25. So the reason why it says estimate is because if you go back to your table, you don't have any value for 32.25, right? So in that case, we have to observe what are the values that we know on the table. We have two values, one is before and one is after. That is 32.2 and 32.3. So we can first find those two values and then find their average to find the estimate for this one. So 32.2 will be 5.675. So 32.3 should be 5.683. Now for the estimate, we have to add those two and divide by 2. So let's do add first. 5.675, then we have 5.683 plus, that should be 85311. Then find the average. So average will be the sum divided by the two numbers, so 2. That'll be 1, that should be 5, that will be 6, that should be 7, that should be 9. So 5.679 will be your estimate for this square root. Now for part C, we have to find the number which has a square root of this one. So which number has a square root of this? So let's see. If you go back to your graph, here we have 56.32. If you go up, we have 56, so 5.639, sorry. So here we have 56.39, and here we have 5.639. So from the table, you can see that that is the square root of 31.8. So we know that, let's write this down, we know that square root of 31.8 is equal to 5.639. Now, you have to make this become this. You have to multiply by 10 on this side, you will have. So if you do multiply by 10, it will become 5 point this. So you also have to multiply by 10 on this side if you do that, right? Now on one side you will have 56.39, which is exactly what we want, and this will become, so how do you send this value inside? As you know, 10 is equal to root of 100. So that will be, so this number will be root of 100 times root of 31.8. That is equal to root of 31.8. So times 100, that should be 0. So your answer will be root of 31.80. And your value will be 31.80 for that square root. That will be part C of question 14. Now moving on to question number 15, simplify this one. So you will have 8 minus 60 minus 3. That will be 5 minus 60. Now for this one, we have to expand the powers first. So 2 power 3 will be 8, x power 6, that will be this. Here you have 6, x power 4, y power 4. Now this will become 4 over 3. This is x power 2, x power minus 1. That will be 4x squared divided by 3y as your answer. And that will be your question number 15. Now let's move on to question number 16. The points P and Q are given to you as follows. So part 1, find the midpoint of PQ. So pretty easy, we just have to use our formula here. So midpoint is equal to x1 plus x2 divided by 2 and y1 plus y2 divided by 2. And that is equal to 5, and that is 3. So 5, 3 will be your midpoint. Now for part B, the length PQ is given to you by root of n, so find the value of n. So first we have to find the length of PQ, which is the magnitude of PQ. That will be root of x1 minus x2, so 0 minus 10 square, plus y1 minus x2, y2 square. That will be root of 10 square plus 8 square. That is 100 plus 64. That will be 164. Now compare with the value that we are trying to find, which is n, will be equal to 164. And that is your question number 16. Now let's move on to question number 17. So we have the length of 90 leaves. So this is good to know. We have 90 leaves. Our plants were measured. The results were given in the table below, and the diagram shows part of the cumulative frequency curve. Okay. Now part 1. Complete the cumulative frequency curve. So let's do the rest. So we have to complete that. Cumulative frequency. So here we have less than 1 is 7. So we have begin with 0, okay, that is 7. 7 plus this, that will be 24, plus this will be what? So let's check. So 24 plus 29, that should be 53. Then plus 24, that should be 77. That will be 87, and that should be 90 leaves. So 90 leaves in total, 90 leaves given to you. So that is the right value, okay? So here we have been given until 4 and 77. So next one is 5, 87. That should be about, this is 90, 88, 87 should be about this value, right? Somewhere around here. And the last one is 6 will be 90. 90 is exactly right here. So now we just have to join this 2 to this line to complete your cumulative frequency curve. Okay, so that is pretty good, pretty smooth. Okay, now for part B, use the curve to estimate the median. Median is half the value, so middle value, half of 90. That should be 45th value. So go back to your graph. You have to draw the line at y equal to 45. 45 will be right here in between 40 and 50. So let's see, where do we have? That will be on your x, that will give you the value of 2.5, 2.8. So you have 2.8 centimeters. Now for part 2, we have to estimate the number of leaves with length less than 3.5. So first, let's go to 3.5. That will be right here. Let's draw a line to find the corresponding number of leaves who are on this line. So as you can see here, we have 68. Now you have to understand, when you do cumulative frequency, so the number of leaves below will be less than 3.5 and above will be more than 3.5. So this value will be 68, which is less than 3.5. Okay, so for example, what if the question asks you, what is the number of leaves which is more than 3.5? So you will take 90 minus 68 in that case. But right now it's just less than, so you get the value directly from that. That will be 68. And that will be 17. Now let's move on to question 18. So the diagram represents a vertical circular fairground wheel which turns about its center O. Now the wheel has 30 seats in total, equally spaced. So that is the very important here. Equally spaced around the circumference, numbered consecutively from 1 to 30. There's no 0 here, 1 to 30. Okay, so which means, let me check. So here we have the diagram, which is not drawn to scale, shows 7 of the seats labeled with the seat number 29 at the top of the wheel. 29 is right here. Okay, now question part 1. what is the number of seat which is at the bottom of the wheel? So we have to know what number is right across 29. So pretty easy. Since we have 29, we must have, on this side has to be 15, and this has to be 15. So we count, we have, so basically that is 1, 2, 3, 4. So when it is 4, it shows to be 3. So which means right how we need 15 over here. If it is 15 over here, it will show 14. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So let's say it one more time. If you count 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you say 4, this number shows to be 3, right? But we know that it has 30 seats in total. So here we need to have 15, and here we need to have 15, right? So when you say 15, you will see 14. Just like when you say 4, you see 3. When you say 15, you will see 14. So the number of seats will be 14 at the bottom. Now for part B, find the angle X shown in the diagram. So last time I made a mistake here by counting the number of seats, but as you can see, we have to look at this. Equally spaced. Count the number of space for that angle. So here we have 1 space, 2 space, 3 space. That will be 3 space over the number of seats, which is, if you count, that is how much? 30. That will be times 360 for your angle. Now simplify. That will be 36. So your angle here, X, will be equal to 36 degrees. So now the next question is to work out the angle of elevation of C2 from the bottom of the wheel. So let's see what angle we are looking for. This is the bottom of the wheel. C2, we have to join to C2. And angle of elevation is measured from the ground. So you have to measure this angle. So how would you find this angle? So by observation, since we know that angle X is equal to 36, and we know that circle is, the theory here tells you that the angle at center will always be twice the angle at circumference. So this angle here will be half of 18, so half of 36, that should be 18. So from this, you also know that tangent joining your circle has to be 90. So this has to be 90 minus 18. That should give you, let's see. So that will be 8, 10, that will be 2, and 7. So your answer will be 72 degrees for your angle of elevation. That will be your question number 18. Now let's move on to question number 20. So first thing, we have to factorize these two numbers. So let's do that. So we can take out 5a. You will have 5a minus 1. Now for this one, as you have observed, 9 is 3 square, you have 3b square. 16 is 4 square, you will have this. Then you will have 3b plus 4 and 3b minus 4. Okay. Now for part C, factorize this one completely as well. So let's see what is common here. So here we have t, here we have t. So let's bring this to one side. You will have 4xy plus 6y plus 3t plus 2tx. Now let's factorize. So here we have 2y is common. That will be 2x plus 3. Here we have plus, and here we have t is common. You'll have 2x plus 3 as well. So these two are common. You can factorize those two. You will have 2x plus 3, and then we have 2y plus t remaining. And that will be your answer for part C. That will be question 19. Let's move on to question 20. So this one is a locus question. I think from the last time I missed the part C of the question, but this time I will try to do everything, okay? So let's move on to the question, part 1. The diagram shows the lines A and B. So AB and BC given to you on the diagram itself. The point D is on the opposite side of AC and to B. So it will be about here. This is what it means, right? Now, part A. So we're given that the length of AD is 5, CD is 6.5. A, we have to construct the quad ABCD. So pretty easy. First, let's go to your point A, measure 5 centimeters. So 5 centimeters from A, that will be, let's measure. So make sure your pencil is sharp because it is important to have accurate drawings in those kind of questions. So that is 5. So A, and draw your first arc towards in this direction. Right, so that is part 1. Now CD is 6.5, so measure 6.5 and then go to your point C. 6.5. Now go to your point C, intersect the curve, the arc. So now at the point of intersection, that will be your point D. So join this to ADN DC to form your quad ABCD. Okay, that will be what you are looking for. Now let's see what else. So B on the diagram, construct the locus of points inside of the quad that are part 1 equidistant from AB and BC. So as you can see here, we have B in common, so we have to draw the angular bisector of angle B. So pretty easy. Go to your angle, go to your part B, measure a length, and then just you have to bisect the line, this and this. Now go to those 2 points. You have to draw an arc here, and then same thing, draw another arc here. Okay, this is horrible, but yeah, you get the idea. It should not happen. So here you go. So now we have a point of intersection. B should be joining to this point. Now this should be only inside of the quad, so it should not go out. So joining these two, that will be your angular bisector of angle B, which is equidistant from AB and BC. Now part 2, locus of points which are equidistant from B and C. So this will be your perpendicular bisector of the line BC. So let's do that. First, go to any of those points, measure distance, which is more than halfway, and then draw an arc over this side and this side, and then go to your point B to intersect those two. Now from this we can join those 2 points of intersection to form the perpendicular bisector of the line BC. Okay, so you will have something like this, joining those 2. Okay, so that will be your answer for question part B. Now moving on to part C, the line PQ consists of points inside the quad, which are, first one, it is equidistant from AB and BC. So as you can see here, this is the same thing as that. So it means that PQ will be lying on that line, on this line. This is PQ will be on that line. Now the next condition is it is nearer to C than to B. So I mean we have C and B has to be closer to C. So finally, mark and label the line PQ. Pretty easy. So let me just join those two. So first condition is it needs to be on that line. Then it needs to be closer to C. So only that line which is closer to C will be get to be called PQ. This will be point P, and this will be your point Q. So that line will be your answer for question 20C. Now let's move on to question 21. So here we have the lines. As you can see, we have diagram shows you triangle ABC formed by lines. We have y equal to 6. This is your horizontal line. Y equal to 6. And we have x equal to 23. X equal to 23, right? And then we have this line. This is the line of y equal to x over 3. Okay, now part 1 is to find the coordinates of the point A. Now if you observe, the point A is a point of intersection between this line and this line. So let's solve them simultaneously. So here we have y equal to 6 is equal to x over 3. So from this you can see x will be 3 times 6, that will be 18. So that will be 18, 6 will be your point A. So we can mark this down for now. So 18 will be this line. This is x equal to 18. Okay. Now for part B, the region inside of the triangle is defined by three inequalities. One of these is x less than 23, which is this one, less than 23. Now we have to define the other two. Pretty easy. Has to be more than y equal to 6. So y has to be more than 6 and has to be less than this one. So y will be less than x over 3. Now for part B, part C now, the point P, it is h and k, where these two are integers. This is important to know. Integers are whole numbers, lies inside of the triangle ABC. So we know this is inside of the triangle ABC, so we have to find the values of h and k. So from observation itself, in the triangle ABC, we only have a few points, which is 19, 20, 21, 22. Now by observation, the point that is most likely in the triangle will be from this side, because the space here is more. So you would say, okay, let's begin with x equal to 22. So if x is equal to 22, what will be inside of this? So let's check. So here you have, so here we have what? Here we have 6, and what is this point C? Let's see, let's check where is the point C. C will be about what? So we'll be intersecting from this line and this one. So C is y is equal to x is 23 over 3, which is about, so you would see about 7, 2 over 3. So the only point inside here will be 7, right? The point 7. So in that case, the this point 22, 7 will be inside of the triangle ABC. So h will be 22 and y will be 7. Well, the reason why the other points will not be valid, for example, let's say I choose 21, because if you observe the triangle, let's see, the triangle is that shape, right? It is that shape. Now here we have 19, 20, 21, 22. Now by observation you would say, okay, if I choose 19, my y value may be outside, so you'll be not inside the triangle. So if I go to the furthest this way, my chances that it is inside will be most likely. So it means that we have to choose this one. I hope that makes sense, right? That's why I chose h to be 22 and k will be 7. That will be 21. Now let's move on to 22. The diagram is the speed time graph of a train which travels between two stations. Okay, so we have that. And part A, find an expression in terms of v for the retardation of the train. So retardation of the train is this one. As you guys must know already, whenever you have a speed time graph, retardation is equal to height divided by base. The height is v divided by 10 for the base. That will be v over 10. Now for part B, the distance between two stations is 1.2 km. Find the value of v. So distance travel is definitely area under the graph, so we have to use that to find the value of v. So here we have meters per second, so we first have to convert km to meters, right? So multiply by 1000, you will have 1200 meters. So we have to use distance to find the value of v. So look at this. This is a trapezium. So how do you find area of trapezium? You would say half times sum of parallel sides, that will be 80 plus 40 times the height in between, that will be v. So that will be half 80 plus 40 times v is equal to 1200. So we have to find the value of v. So we can simplify. That will be half times 120 times v is equal to 120. So 1200. So 120 we can cancel out. You will get 121. So v will be 20. So your v is 20, and that is your question number 22. Let's move on to question number 23. In the Venn diagram, shade the region given by this. So we have A prime is outside of A, intersecting B and C. That will be right here. Now for part B, we have P equal to those two numbers. Q is this and R is this. So let's find the possible value of this one first. So number of values. First, what is P union Q? That will be a set of, we have minus 1, 1, 2, and 4. That should be 4. Now, what else do we have? Let's check. For this one, list the members of R. R is given by this, so we have to find one by one, right? So let's say we take X. X is from P. So let's say P, so X is equal to 1. The value of R will be, we will have X, so that is 1, so divided by minus 1, 1 divided by 1, and 1 divided by 2. So we have 3 values, which is minus 1, 1 and half. Now let's choose X to be 2 or 4. So we have 1 and 4, so we have to choose 4 now. The value of R will be, so let's test, that will be 4 over minus 1, 4 over 1, and 4 over 2. Minus 4, 4, and 2. So simplify, the set of R should be equal to minus 4, minus 1, we have half, 2, and 4. So we have all this for your members of R. That will be question 23. Now let's move on to question 24, okay? So here, in the diagram, we have ABC and AFE are straight lines. So ABC and AFE are straight lines. That is the first thing that we know. Now part 1, you have to find AF in terms of A and B. So AF is this one. So to go from A to F, we can first go from A to B, then B to F. So pretty easy. That will be 6A plus 2B. That is your AF. Now for part B, we have been given that AE is 9A plus KB. Now we have to find the value of K. Okay, so that is actually pretty easy, but we have to understand what's happening. So 9A, so A is in this direction. It should be 9A should be about on this line. That's the first thing we have to understand, because A is in this direction, 9A will be on this line. Now, how do we know that AE is parallel to BF? The reason how we know this is because it is B. So K times B. B means this direction. If two lines have the same direction, it means that they are parallel to each other. So that's why I can assume that these AE and BF is parallel, because as you can see, to go from A to F, we first have to move in direction of A and move by direction of B. So same thing, to go from A to E, we have to first move by direction of A and then direction of B. So these two lines will have to be parallel to each other. So here we will have something like this. That will be your point E in this direction. Now we just have to use ratio to find the length of this is. So this is 9A. So BE will be just 3A. Okay, so to find this value here, KB, what is the value of K? Is, as you can see, we have 6, 2. If you have 9, that should be 3. You can compare. If you have 6A is equal to 2B. Now you would say, okay, what is 9A? 9A will be 2B divided by 6A times 9A. That will be divided by 3. Should be 3 is 2. That should be 3, 1, 1. That should be 3B. So K will be 3. That's how you find the value of K. Okay, that is for part B. Now, part 2, we have ED is parallel to BC and CD is parallel to BF. Okay, so right now, ED is parallel to EC and CD is parallel to EF. Sorry, it's not EF, it's BF. BF. Okay. Now, find in terms of A and B the value of CD. So where's CD? CD is this one. Since these two are parallel and these two are parallel, this has to be 3B. CD has to be 3B. Now we have to find DE. Now from what we can see, if let me see, what else do we have? So DE we have to find in this direction. How would you find that? So you have to observe, right? So how can you know this? We have to use some information here that BC is equal to AB. So BC is equal to AB. So this is 6 as well. So it means that this is also 3A, right? EC is 3A. Now EA is in this direction, that is 3A. ED will be in this direction, that will be 3A as well. But we have to find DE, which is in this direction, that will be minus 3A, because it is not in the, it is in the opposite direction. So that is for question number 24. Now let's move on to question number 25. So Mary makes pendants of the same design from small beads. The sequence of diagrams shows the pendant that she makes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that is the diagram that we are given. Now part 1, complete the table for 5. So as you can see, observe, we have 1 becomes 3, so we have to increase by 2, 2, 2, 2, that will be 11. And this one will be, that is 4, that is 9, that is 16, 25. As you can see, they are square numbers, but it is a little off. We have to do 1 plus 1 square is 4, 2 plus 1 square is 9, 3 plus 1 square is 16, 4 plus 1 square is 5, 5 plus 1 square will be 36. That is your table. Now for part B, find an expression in terms of n for the number of rows in diagram n. So that will be n. We have to find this one here. So if you observe, how do you get 3? You do 2 times 1 plus 1 to get 3. How do you get 5? You do 2 times 2 plus 1. How do you get 7? You do 2 times 3 plus 1. So from what you can see here, when it is your first term, we have 1 here. Second term, we have 2 here. Third term, we have 3 here. So n term, you will have n here. So that will be 2n plus 1. Now for part 2, the number of beads in diagram n. So number of beads is this one. Okay, so as I've explained, how do you get this one here? You would take 1 plus 1 square. This one will be 2 plus 1 square. This is 3 plus 1 square. This is 4 plus 1 square. So same way, as you can see, when it is your first term, you put 1 here. Second term, you put 2 here. Third term, you put 3 here. Fourth term, you put 4 here. Nth term, you will put n plus 1 square. That's how you find your number of beads for diagram n. Now for part C, Julia asked Mary to make her a pendant with 25 rows. So 25 rows, number of rows will be 25. As you can see, this is our formula for number of rows. So number of rows has to be 25. So find the value of n. N will be 24 divided by 2, that will be 12. So find the number of beads using your formula, n plus 1 square. So number of beads will be n plus 1 square, so n is 12, plus 1 square, that will be 13 square, which is 169. And that is your question number 25. Now let's move on to question number 26. So here we have to express A minus 2B as a single matrix. So let's do that. We have A on one side, 0, 1, minus 2, 3. Minus 2B will be 6, 4, minus 2, 0. So we just bring the 2 inside. You will see. You will get something like this, right? And then minus 1 by 1, 0 minus 6 will be minus 6. Minus 2 minus 4 will be minus 6. 1 minus minus 2 will be 3. And that will be 3. And this is your answer for part A. Now for part B, we have to find A square. So you have to understand A square is actually A times A. It is not A square. Okay. So 0, 1, minus 2, 3 times the same thing. So as you know, matrix is always rows by column. So rows will be 0 times 0 plus minus 2 times 1. That should be minus 2. So rows by column, that will be minus 6. Rows by column, that will be 3. So rows by column, so minus 2 plus 9, that should be 7. Now finally, this one, B inverse is equal to K times A. Find the value of K. So let's first find B inverse to solve this one. So go back to your main part here. B is given to you by this. To find inverse, you first have to find determinant of B. That will be cross multiply minus cross multiply. That will be 2. Now the adjoint matrix of B is equal to what? If you observe, that should give you 0, 3, 1, minus 2. So B inverse is equal to 1 over 2 times this matrix. So now by observation, replace that here. B inverse is 1 over 2 times 0, 1, minus 2, 3 is equal to K times A. Now what is A? A is given to you by this matrix, which is 0, 1, minus 2, 3. If you observe, these two are the same. So K has to be equal to this one. K is half. So that was the last question of this paper. I hope that it was more helpful than the previous one. And as always, thank you for watching. I will see you soon.